Hi everyone, it's Asia Marquet here, Lemon Creation. Today I have for you my altered book, which I turned into art journal, and a big crackle. This book I have, it's so cute, it's so tiny, it's smaller than A5 size. And I found it, in this place when people are leaving old broken books. Last time when I posted the video with my mark making in the old book, I got a very not nice comment written in Russian when the girl, the woman, she told me that I should be ashamed of using old books and they would be better left alone and for people to read. So I don't really need to explain myself, but I will. I use only books which are either broken or the pages are stained and in a bad state and they are actually falling apart and the spines are broken and the books are old and for example it's like old manual, school manual, or not even school manual, more like some engineering book or whatever. Things which I find that nobody will take, and I know that they are staying for a long time in my local shop when there is this, book exchange place. So I do that. And I'm not ashamed of that because I think I'm giving them the second life. I would never waste a purposely new book or the book which I find it's nice and has some value to it. But coming back to the page, as you've seen me, I covered the book. This time, surprisingly, I did it with the cream paste from Stamperia. And I covered it, the coverage was quite thick because I didn't want this small sentence on the page to be visible. And also there is another purpose for that, because now on this cream paste, or onto this cream paste, I'm applying texture paste from Finabar. This is the crackle. It's the white texture crackle. And look at what's happened here, guys. I got a very big crackle. And there is a secret, which is super cool to know. When you use mixed media paste, and then you apply the crackle paste on top of it, and those two pastes are actually wet, that will create bigger crackles. So this is a tip for you also. You can only apply the crackle texture paste, but then probably you will get tinier, smaller crackles. But if you put something underneath, like any type of mixed media paste, you will get bigger crackles. So I love that, and it's been a while since I haven't used the crackles, so I decided today is the day. And of course, to get better crackles, you have to wait and let it air dry. So it was a challenge for me. I am quite impatient, but I let it dry today. And it took a few hours, but now everything is dry, the crackle is there, it's beautiful. And if I was to bend a page a little bit more, I would get a little bit more of the crackles, but I am happy with what I've got. I will be using Lindy's gang magicals. Those are flat magicals, but I realized before opening them that I actually want to add some stenciling, and I am using my stencil, the black ones. I have two sets of stencils, the black ones and the red ones, which are inspired by the deck of cards. And today I'm gonna use the black, or I am using the black ones, and I kind of make a like wobbly line with it going through the middle of the pages. And of course you have to let it dry, because if you apply the magicals over it and then spray it with water, the paste is gonna run also. So you have to let it dry, and I should have let it air dry, but I decided to actually dry it with the heat gun. Be careful when you are drying the pastes like that with the heat gun, because they can kind of raise. In some places they've risen really nicely, but I think I have two of these figures which are not very well, they didn't dry very nicely. But overall, it's a nice thing to also get, like the small, kind of like 3D effect almost with this paste if you dry it with the heat gun. So right now I am adding the two colors, South Shore Sand, and that's Plumeria Pink, I think. It's a tongue twister for me. On top of that, I am quite sick today, so it's I can feel myself not talking correctly, but I applied two of them and then I sprayed a little bit with water. But as you know, the magicals have surprises quite often in them, and some of other pigments in them. And in the South Shore Sand there is a little bit of this dark blue pigment, which I love. Actually, South Shore Sand is one of the nicest colors ever. Like if I had to, take all of my paints and yes, all of my paints, I would put it in top 10. The South Shore Sand, really, really cool, and you can see it here. And with the hindsight, I added too much of this pink, and right now I'm trying to cover it a little bit more with the sand color. I'm not gonna just say another time the full name, because it's a really tongue twister for me today. And when you spray it with water, everything depends on how much water you add, how much the pigments are gonna react. And so you see in some places I have a lot of blue pigment, which is mixing up also. But what I love in the about this particular color is the fact that if you don't spray enough of water, you actually leave it all by itself, because sometimes I'm doing the project just with this color, and if you leave it all by itself, don't add too much water, it's gonna create this kind of clusters of pigment, which are super cool, and they look like, I don't know what, like a clusters of sound, which is it's so hard to say, maybe cluster of rust even, I've no idea, but they are looking so beautiful, and that's why I love to use this color. And it's quite intriguing with these patches of blue, which appears like out of nowhere, because you wouldn't think that in the like a sand color, like a brown color, you're gonna get blue, and here it is. So you can see me here working my way over this pink, which is way too strong, and it's been a while I use this pink, and on the small box the pink color is in. The color looks a little bit less brighter, so I kind of forgot how bright it really actually is, and that was my mistake, because I didn't want to have this really striking pink. So I am trying to remove it with water, with addition of more of the South Shore Sand, and working my way through the page. And at the end, after drying, it's not that bad, no. The colors go well together, and Lindy's usually put, they sell the sets of colors, and in the sets of colors you usually have colors which goes really well together. So yes, that's the tip also for you if you are not sure, if you don't know how too much about the color mixing and stuff like that. You can always kind of rely on their sets. And here I'm using a Stabilo All pencil. It's a watercolor pencil, and once activated with water, it will actually behave like watercolors. But bear in mind that magicals are also water reactive. So once you add the water to the page, the magicals also are gonna react. But I wanted to do some shadowing besides this reason, I think, points or figures. And that's why I use the watercolor pencil. And the only problem I have with this pencil that the black is not really very black, it's more gray. And so I was repeating the process a few times. At the beginning I put the shadow only on one side of the figures, but then I decided I'm gonna put it all over, because it was so not very visible, that I was thinking that if I put it all around, it's gonna be better, and the figures, the card figures, are gonna stand out a little bit more, which you can see is happening. But then again, I was still not happy with it, and so I decided to add a little bit more of contrast, because if you know me, you know I really love the contrast, and I love adding the contrast. For my eyes, it's more appealing, and also to take a photo is much better if you have some black on your pages. And it's quite hard to actually take photos of the pages which are which do not have black. And yes, as you can see, there was black really missing on this page, so that's why I'm adding you know, more of this pencil, more of this gray rather than black. But I didn't want to, for this page I decided to not add black at all, to just add a little bit of gray. Later I changed my mind. You're gonna see in a few seconds that I actually change my mind again and add a little bit more of the black, because I was thinking that still the figures, the stenciled figures, are not really popping up from the pages, and I wanted them to be a little bit more visible. So this part of the art journaling took me the longest, I think, because, you know, I was adding water and reactivating a little bit the paints and the pencil, trying to get with the darker color into these nooks and crannies, and you know, make it a little bit more contrast to the page, or adding a little bit more contrast to the page. And as much as I love this pencil, it's still, the color is not as dark as I would like it to be. But lately I actually did some swatching of my pens and pencils, and I found one which is actually, I think, the best, and you're gonna see it in a second. It's a pencil which I didn't use that often, and I find is really giving very dark color. So if you want to have a black color, that's the one to go for. And before I added this pencil to the page, I decided also to add a little bit more contrast with the white. So I covered the how do you call them? These card figures with the white gesso, and I applied the gesso with the brush. But then once again, you know, I am really loving adding the color with my fingers, so at the end I finished just like that. Adding that and spreading rather with my fingers, and straight away you see them clearer. And so that was my purpose, because this page is quite busy. There is a crackle happening. The sides of the papers are already like nicely textured. You can see that where the paste is finishing, there is some texture, and then there is stenciling, and those two colors which are very, you know, they have a lot of spots. So it's quite busy, this page, and that's why I decided to add this white to the stenciling. And this is the crayon I was talking to you about. It's a Stabilo, also the huge one like the Woody. But there is also one more thing I really love. It's water-soluble oil pastels from Prima, and the black is also really beautiful. But Woody is super cool also, and look at that straight away. The black color, which is really visible and gives a lot of contrast. And as you can see on top of this page, where the paste is finishing, it's actually giving such a nice, you know, the crayon went so nicely in between, you know, the texture and the paper, which wasn't covered with the texture, and it left such a nice impression. And so as you can see, the small addition of black color and white color, it changed the page straight away. the page is, even though I use more of the products, it's less busy, because you can see the white stencil figures, you can see the edges of the book, and this busyness created by magicals is a little, it got a little quieter, if I can say it like that. So at the end, all comes to playing, you know, with the tools you have, with the paints you have, and just trying it. And if you find that your page at some point looks a little bit, I don't know, too busy or not good enough, and you have problems with taking photos, for example, try to add some black or white even. And you'll see quite often it changes completely, and it makes the the page, the project completely different and so much nicer. I am adding my, I think, super messy words this time. I add a part of it. I cut, because the sentence says art is the journey of free soul, so I didn't use the word art. I just wanted to add a little bit of kind of poetic, you know, kind of like middle of the sentence. And once again, I'm adding a little bit of the color with the Stabilo or Stabilo watercolor pencil, and I also added a little bit on the paper, on the sentence, because the paper was too white for me, so I just wanted to make it a little bit more like melting with the background. And guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. My camera is playing tricks on me. I got a comment on how to fix it, and I am not managing, so I don't know what's happening. It's focusing really badly, but you're gonna see a little bit more on the close-ups. If you enjoyed this video, I'll be very happy if you share it with your friends. Please subscribe, it means so much for me, and for you it's just one click. And thank you also so much for visiting my shop. As always, I'm sending you big, big, big hugs, and see you soon in my next video. Bye bye.